Some time ago, popular atheist YouTuber Mindshift made a video called A Troll Lying About Truth. Christians Don't Own Truth. In that video, Mindshift responded to some comments he received. I'm going to be responding to each of the things that Mindshift said in his video in a multiple part series.
The second one is that atheists cannot know truth. And of course, there is a difference between being able to define something and being able to know it. But this also is incorrect. Just because I can't know all truth doesn't mean I can't know any truth. I've given the example like 3 times now, but it's just too easy of the fact that me and my wife are married. This is a fact, a real fact, which is the definition of truth in the dictionary. I can know that fact. I have a wealth of evidence outside of just my feelings about my wife that prove it is a fact under the definitions of what marriage is and what that looks like legally. And if we went through that legal process and have witnesses, and not to mention the video footage, the people that we invited, the venue that we paid, all of that. Like, of course, I can know some truths, but we can know truth as well as anybody else, right? Because if you were just saying humans can't know truth, then we can get into the conversation about, well, maybe we can't know objective truth. And so if that's what you mean, then yeah, we all fall short there. But when you say atheists can't know truth, what you're implying is that Christians can. And yet Christians, when pressed about what God has revealed to them about a certain subject matter, disagree with each other. Denominations disagree with each other. Interpretations of the Bible disagree with each other. That's not truth. And some of that happens because you try to rely on these sources like divine revelation, being spoken to in dreams, having the living word of God come to life in your heart. But the way that we've been able to actually know the real facts about reality that we've known so far is through the scientific method and evidence and reason and experience and all kinds of things that go into how we know what we know. The only real difference I see in being able to know truth between a Christian and an atheist is that the atheist doesn't have to take any claim of truth on faith alone. We can just say we don't know when we don't know, and say we think this is probably the closest guess we have to what is true, meaning what is comporting with reality, and we're willing to change our mind if we find out we're wrong. Where would you rather be? Where do you think is the more virtuous place to be? Pretending to know or being willing to say, I don't know? And again, all of us can know some things sometimes.
The fact that we all define terms so differently to me points to the fact that we all have a deficient understanding because of our deficient minds. To me, it points to a perfect mind that has perfect understanding, which is elusive to us in our own efforts apart from divine grace. There's a difference between head knowledge, analogous to being able to define something, and heart knowledge, analogous to being able to know something. Not everyone who gives a definition about something they describe is correct about their definition. A definition should be thought of more like an objective fact than a subjective opinion. That is what many people think science does. They think science gives nothing but objective facts, rather than, at times, also giving subjective opinions. Love, again, is an example to illustrate this. I can say from my head and with my words that I love my wife, but I have to act to demonstrate that my professed love for my wife is actually authentic. I can define it by saying I love her, but my definition does not carry the weight that it could if I do not demonstrate it by my actions. Because my love for my wife has impacted my immaterial seat of my emotions, commonly referred to as my heart, my immaterial heart, I should be able to demonstrate it to others and her by my actions. Obviously, the literal heart is material, but I'm referring to the thing that we commonly refer to as the will and the emotions when I say heart. My heart knowledge about my love for my wife should transform my actions towards her. I tell my wife that I love her, but if I habitually refuse to act a certain kind of way towards her, my words are empty and meaningless. My love for my wife is unique to my experience with my wife. No other man can experience my love for my wife because my wife is not also their wife. Some things are experientially known. I experience my wife's love for me, and she experiences my love for her. She can know my love for her as imperfectly as I demonstrate it by her experience of it. I can know her love for me by my experience of her love for me. It may be difficult for me to define my love for her, but she can know it because she experiences it. It may be difficult for her to define her love for me, but I can know it because I experience it. So it is with God. It may not be easy to define him, to describe knowing him, or how we know him, but since we can know him, if we do know him and we experience him, we can do our best to describe to others what that experience is like. How would you describe what the color blue looks like to someone who is blind from birth? What terms could you use that would make sense to someone who lacks a means of perception that you have had at your disposal and take for granted? So it is when the theist tries to explain God to someone who lacks spiritual perception. It's like trying to explain the difference of defining something utilizing one's five senses and knowing something experientially when the senses are not accessible to the one on the receiving end of the explanation. I mean to say that not everything can be known in the same ways. As love cannot be known in the same way that 2 plus 2 can be known, so God cannot be known in the same way that 2 plus 2 can be known. As I have said elsewhere, both atheists and theists have the same facts from which to work. We just interpret the facts differently. We have the same evidence at our disposal. We come to different conclusions about how to interpret the evidence because of our worldviews. Christians will say that atheists can't know the truth like they know the truth because God is the source of truth. I agree with that position of the Christians. It might sound haughty to some without discernment for the Christians to say that they know the truth and non-Christians do not know the truth, but I wish atheists like Mindshift would try to slow down and understand that no Christian should say that they are better than any unbeliever. No Christian should say that or act like they are superior. I, unfortunately, felt this vibe of superiority in hearing the comments made by the theist to which Mindshift responds in his video. Christians are on the receiving end of divine grace. They did not deserve to receive divine grace. God took mercy on them. Grace is not earned, it is freely given. Christians are unworthy to receive what they've received. Christ is worthy of all glory and honor. Christians should be humble. Sadly, many Christians are not humble, and therefore they do a disservice to the God they say they represent.